Hey guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. And today we are looking at Danger Girl number 2 by J. Scott Campbell and Andy Hartnell, who is the co-writer, who I guess he was a colorist at Wildstorm, or working with Jim Lee and whatnot. And also Scott Williams is doing the inks on this book. This really is a team effort. I was giving all the credit to J. Scott Campbell yesterday, but he is, he was Jim Lee's protege. Jim Lee was his mentor. I love this. The inside cover is always the catch-up previously on, a black and white version of it. And so, yeah, this is a team effort, but J. Scott Campbell is, look at this guy's face. The characters' faces, their postures, the equipment. This is a giant ship. I'm not going to ask what kind of ship has a massive TV like this, because, you wouldn't really get that on a ship. But this is a great comic. So they are out at sea, trying to watch what's going on with Abby along the coast. She's being fired at by, and we should go over this, what happened. This is the Peach, and he set up a buyer at a French market, and he killed the buyer, ran away with the goods. Abby is chasing him, and helicopters are chasing them. They are talking about Abby's car. She's in a special BMW. It's got some James Bond stuff, not all of it. The problem with this comic jumps the shark. This comic made comics so hard for everybody else for years afterward. This comic is so good, nobody else has been able to come close. You really can't. G.I. Joe should have been this all along, but it wasn't. And, this is James Bond, the comic book. So Abby is being shot at from the helicopters from above. The car is bulletproof, even the tires. They're not getting through the cab. She's ducked down behind the windshield. They're trying to get a clean shot on her. She's got a plan. I wish I had gone back to this as soon as I started trying to draw again. J. Scott Campbell has always felt out of my reach, but lately my method for drawing digitally with layers is really producing some great results. It's like light boxing. And, if you're going to steal from the best. She hits the nitrous and launches the car at the helicopter. It's like Wolverine launching the motorcycle at the helicopter. That's Marvel. This is not Marvel. This is Cliffhanger. Appropriately named Cliffhanger comic books. I'm turning these pages way too fast. She launches the car at a helicopter and then hits the ejector seat before the car hits the helicopter, before she goes under the propellers, and winds up hanging from the skid of the other helicopter. Sorry, these are like mint comics, so I'm destroying them by opening them up for you guys. I catch the Grim Hustle videos on YouTube pretty regularly, and yesterday they posted the Blackstone one, the 8-hour day concept of spending 4 hours doing quiet work, 2 hours doing work with people, social work, meetings and whatnot, conversations, 1 hour for workout and 1 hour for charity. And destroying these comics is for the good of mankind. I'm going to back this up a couple pages because this sequence is so awesome. Not starting there, just these 2 pages. These 3 pages, like a triptych, on your wall would be a great 3-page bit. Here she is hanging off the bottom of the helicopter. This is really bad. Okay, if you want to see it more, you're just going to have to hit pause. God, this is so good. This is everything I love about comics. This is everything I wanted to write. This is what I set out to write. You know, I didn't even really think about it. I never tried to do a female James Bond. That's not who Ashley Fox is. She's much more of a, I don't know. She's Conan in the future if Conan was a female and raised by a genetic scientist. That's not really accurate, so. Abby hanging off the helicopter. There are some awesome Batman ads in this comic as well. This is for Cartoon Network, but then we get a couple for DC Legends toys. Look at Sydney's arm. So I've learned, I caught a video where someone talked about how there's 3 kinds of shadows. Cast shadows, fall off shadows, and reflected light. So this has got the reflected light, you know, onto the other side of her arm. It's not just in complete black. All of them do. They all have the reflected light. You don't get it so much in this cartoony image, but you definitely get it here and on her face. This is just great. So this guy's trying to shoot her. She climbs up the helicopter. Now, okay, I did have an issue with that elbow and this fist and this fist. So here's all this guy's arms. Someone came forward from one of the other seats in the helicopter to elbow Abby in the head. But as she's falling, I did notice she's got like rings on her hand. That's pretty clear, this little pointed out ring right there. I noticed that. And I was reading this, you know, one panel at a time. I'm old now, so I have to really focus on each individual panel, and it gives me a purer experience. I can't skip ahead. So I didn't skip ahead to her landing on Sydney's truck, so she's still alive, and she's flipping him off with in her underwear with a ring to a grenade. Of course, that helicopter blows up, smashes to the ground. Sydney and Abby catch a ride with this guy who just happens to be passing by. His name is Jacques. James Bond is a cartoon too. This guy's a great Sean Connery. It's kind of too bad, you know. Well, whatever. He's a great Sean Connery. He even looks Scottish. He even has like the asymmetrical features, you know. Asymmetrical features are, you know, doing those expressions. That's what you have to get good at. Here's the first Legends of the Dark Knight commercial for Batman toys. So this is not Jacques. He is a guy. He is the bad guy. He's the bad ninja character. He would be Firefly or Zartan from Cobra. Now here we get a cut inside the end of a page where Deuce explains where they're going to Switzerland. It's just one panel, and it works because it's a page turner. And it gives you, oh, here you get the next page for the Batman toys. And you get there in Interlaken, which I guess is a made-up city in Switzerland. They are in a chalet. I love this, how you can see, this is just everything about this. This is magnificent. If you had a group of guys hanging out in a studio working on this together, this is just great. I mean, yeah, you got to let him draw for a while and leave him alone, but still, this is awesome. How are the colors looking? Good. How are the inks looking? Good. Everyone getting along, happy. Excuse me. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that there could be any arguments at any point in this process of working on this comic book. This should have been nothing but pure happiness and joy in knowing that you were working on everything you'd ever wanted. No one was diluting it or telling you you needed to add characters of a different race or change the characters to make them more acceptable. Everything about this comic is perfect. Everything about this comic is perfect. So this is Johnny Barracuda, and he is their contact. Sydney doesn't like him because all the girls love him, and he, he's a misogynist. I never got into the Archer cartoon because Archer felt like Johnny Barracuda or James Bond just being pissed on by this new anti-white culture. And there's none of that going on here. Life is strange, right? Life is really strange, especially when it comes to the real lives of the people who write and draw fiction. This guy looks like Michael Turner. Michael Turner was a big sort of, he was a superhero of a guy. I don't think the camera is having any trouble focusing on any of these pages because there's so many faces. It's super easy for the AI to pick out what it's supposed to be focusing on. These look like photographs, but they're cartoons. So that is Abby entering with long Stacy Keebler legs. She is accompanying Johnny Barracuda to another part of the party. And this girl who looks like Natalia is not Natalia. She's just telling Abby that if she has some peach schnapps, it'll loosen her inhibitions. And Abby says, I think I'll skip it. Abby is here to find the shield that the peach stole. I believe it's a shield. It's some sort of disc, right? Like the Nebra disc. I don't know if you guys know what the Nebra disc is. But this... Here's Abby and the serving girl. Here are the twins. They're not Tomax and Zaymont. They're not the Winklevoss twins, but they may as well be. And here is Hervé Villachet from Fantasy Island. And this is a robot next to him. So we get a lot happening on this one page, right? Like this is a new character introduced at the bottom. And now this guy is watching everything. Like I said, this guy's a robot. Here's Johnny Barracuda. This guy goes running off to interrupt something, and I'm not sure quite what. But Johnny Barracuda sees him coming, and then he's been distracted by Natalia. That might be Natalia. It might not. It might just be some other girl at the party. I think it's Natalia. And so Johnny Barracuda, of course, orders 2 buttery nipples, slippery nipples, or whatever they are. Of course he does. If I'm a racist for liking this comic book, then I'm a racist. All day, every day. So they're hanging out, and he trips Hervé Villachet, who loses his knife, brass knuckles, a gun, some cocaine. And he says, you dropped all your toys. And then he drowns him in a toilet, or he's remembering, I think Hervé Villachet is remembering Johnny Barracuda drowning him in a toilet, or he's doing that right now. I'm not quite sure because we don't really cut back to this right away. But I think they've run into each other before. I think this is a flashback. Here we have Abby trying to get into the Peaches' rooms. And she tells this guy that she's there for the party. And then she says something to convince him to let her in. And then she does this ick, gross face, which is awesome. I could see some great, I wish Amber Heard had turned out to be a better person. But I could see her behaving like this. The girl from Dexter, whose name I'm spacing on. I'll remember it as soon as I finish the video. Yvonne. It's not Strakalski. I know that. That's Reenie's name. But it's something close to that. Suharski, maybe? I don't know. So here she is looking at the shield. She runs the water to make it sound like I think she's filling the tub. And she's in here looking at this. I think it's a shield or a Nebra disc. And because you can see this engraving along the border, that wouldn't really, if it is a shield, it's a decorative shield. But it might also be a map on a shield. I don't remember. I read this as a trade paperback. I know I read all of it. But I read it in the 2000s and I haven't read it since. I've gone back to look at the art occasionally, but not enough. I've never sat down and read these again. And so here's the Peach coming in, and Abby has to think of what to do. Sydney is telling her, or Johnny Barracuda is telling her over her radio that the Peach is on his way. You have to get out. Instead, she pulls off her dress. And jumps into the bath. The Peach enters to find Abby Chase with her long Stacy Keibler legs in a bubble bath in his room. And here we get Silicon Valerie. Gen 13. When comics got this good, they should have let go of superheroes. J. Scott Campbell had the right idea, but now I guess all he does are covers for superheroes. This is the best comic ever. Oh, and the Three of Pentacles, the dwarf. I don't think I even mentioned him earlier. Yeah. All right, let's do the next bit. Hey guys. So today we were looking at Danger Girl #2 by J. Scott Campbell and Andy Hartnell. And I made the bold statement that this is as good as comic books have ever gotten. Oof. And I stand by that. Nobody's topped this. Nobody has even tried. Not even J. Scott Campbell. I don't know why this never became a cartoon. I think Gen 13 became a cartoon. Maybe this did get briefly like an episode of cartoon. I don't know. I think AI will cartoon this before too long. And I threatened yesterday to show off what I've got here. Apparently, I accidentally ordered 2 sets of Danger Girl 1 through 9 at $50 each off of eBay over this past weekend. So I have multiple copies of these. And they're good. There's a couple number 1s All mint. Now remember, this was way overprinted. There were so many copies of this printed that these are really, I can get all of them for $50. Finally get the bad guys. Natalia Castle. And I love all the 80s and 90s beachwear covers. This is the colors. Everything about this. Let's see how many. Oh, so this is the stack of all the other stuff. We just saw these, right? We just saw these. Here's one. Here's one. And sketchbook. Autographed sketchbook. Trade. This is number 2. Number 2. Number 2. My number 2. My number 7. Hawaii. Vegas. 3D. But I couldn't just lean on this and steal this to draw. I couldn't do that because he'd already done it and he's better at it. I'm not going to draw as good as J. Scott Campbell doing J. Scott Campbell. That's never going to happen. But what J. Scott Campbell can't do is write what I can write. And last night I wrote a great chapter. I actually wrote it a few years ago. This is the second time I've written it. The first time I wrote it longhand. I think I typed that version up, but I can't find it. And I have no idea where the longhand, it's probably like 30 pages in one of my boxes. I have boxes and boxes and boxes of writing and drawing. They're separated, drawing in these boxes, writing in these. But there is so much. So yeah, I'm very judicious about what I publish. And last night's chapter was really good. It was really good. So I'm, freaking out about my eye. I went to the VA again today. Today I went to the business office, found out that I had been enrolled, but I've never gone to get any care from them. And so I was able to walk into the eye care center and set up an appointment for tomorrow, 10:15, and they will look at it. I don't know when my insurance is going to get around to looking at it. Also, I want to recommend Spring Dragon Tea by Ron Teagarden. And it's an anti-cancer tea. Here's a QR code. So you can order this. This is the best tea I've ever had. I'm not a big tea guy. I did try Lapsang Sochu because I saw it in that movie The Phantom Thread by P.T. Anderson, who did There Will Be Blood and Magnolia. And that's good. It's a smoky Chinese tea, but this tea is proven to be anti-cancer. So you guys should order this. It's not expensive. It used to be $11 a box and now it's $8 a box. I picked up some for a friend's birthday and then the party got canceled, so I wasn't able to deliver them, and I'm drinking them. I bought a few boxes. I bought several boxes so I can replace them. But yeah, you guys should check that out. And today's conflicted card, I haven't looked at it at all, so cut. 5 of clubs. The new character is named in this one. This is conflicted deck 3. They name a character named Sebastian. And he discovers 2 orphans who are very angry and don't trust anyone. It doesn't say if they're male or female or, how old they are, because that's going to be, it doesn't matter how old they are. Pretty much everyone who's alone is an orphan. That's how you feel. You can be orphaned and have a family. If your family cuts you off and stops talking to you, that's what it feels like to be orphaned. Sometimes I think it might have been easier as an adult to have not seen my parents behave in the super negative ways that they did. I know the foster care system would have been worse, and being raised with one parent would have been worse. So I suppose I had the best of all possible childhoods. But you can feel alone in a crowded room. So what do you do to take care of these kids? Yeah, as long as they'll let you. And take care of them as much as they take care of you. Explain to them that 3 heads are better than 2. And you're alone, so you have more to gain from their help than they do from you. So make that clear. Make it clear that you're there to serve them, not them to serve you. Isn't that what we're told to do? Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, in every sense, in every step of the way. I have an ongoing situation at work where my boss has been shafting me the overtime pay, my daily overtime pay. It's $20 a day for the past several years. And now they hired a new payroll company that's forcing them to pay it to me. And I never made an issue of it. And it's, I might be wrong about it too. I might also be incorrect about this. They may have been paying me my overtime pay all along. I have never made counting pennies an issue as an employee. I've never made my fortunes my employer's responsibility. My fortune is my responsibility. I'm going to win a kingdom by my own hand. It's not going to be begging. It's going to be doing the work, doing good work that helps people. The idea is to command a comfortable and dependable salary through integrity and mutual benefit. That's the goal. And my goal is to do that through providing fiction to you guys. So I have, and I'm giving it away to show you how sincere I am. And the next things I'm going to be doing out here, so I was really glad about the Ashley art that I got to do. I didn't get to draw anymore yesterday, but I did get to write, and I haven't gotten to draw yet today, but I have to work out. I have to do a leg workout after this, so I might not get to draw this afternoon. But I'm really excited about how my art is looking. It's taken me my whole life to get here, and I haven't been, it's possible that I would have figured out the eye patch thing at some point if I had just leaned harder into art. But the truth is that you're competing against people who have natural proclivities for these sorts of things. My natural proclivity is to write stories. Now, there are a lot more people who are writers than there are illustrators. A lot less illustrators than there are writers. So if you're a great illustrator, you can keep yourself employed. I don't think I could ever be a professional illustrator. My writers would not have been happy with the pace, even if they liked the work. So, that said, I have to do this for myself. I have to do the brand. I have to do the heavy lifting of creating my Lord of the Rings that will inspire other artists, that will first earn me some capital, some resources to hire artists, to then inspire artists to draw this stuff on their own. That's the goal, right? You want to produce something that's so good that when not only do people buy it, but then they turn around and feel like all the people who've made fun of them for liking comics, this is the comic I'm giving you as a present. This is the one. That's why I can buy, I've got 2 sets of these now, dozens of them. I can give these away. That's a good gift. Even at 30 years old, that's a good gift. Not to someone who doesn't read comics, and anyone who reads comics has it. So, what do you do? It's a good gift for an artist. I have a friend who's an artist, and I could give that to her. She'd like it, I think. Today's Fantasy World Tarot card is the Three of Pentacles, the Dwarf. We'll see what happens tomorrow at the VA. All right, see you guys.